How's it going, guys? It's your boy Random Tall Guy, bringing you back another awesome video. Right now, once again, we're working on the 1985 Jaguar XJ6, and today we're replacing the bad fuel pump. One thing that I like about these Jaguar cars is that the fuel pump is so easy to access. You don't have to lower the fuel tank. You don't have to buy any expensive special equipment. You can do this job simply with common hand tools in your garage without even lifting the car. Alright, in order to remove the fuel pump, you're gonna have to open up your trunk, and you want to go ahead and remove the carpet and the floorboard. Next, you want to remove this little floorboard that hides the fuel pump. This is held up by 4 Phillips screws. Once you got that removed, you can clearly see the fuel pump and all the holes and connectors. I recommend taking pictures or memorizing where all the holes and connectors goes to. But before you remove any hoses, before you remove any connectors, I recommend disconnecting the battery terminal. I also recommend disconnecting the positive and negative cables from the fuel pump first. And before you remove any fuel hoses, I recommend getting a few shop towels and, to soak up the gasoline that spills. Now at this point, I recommend removing both hoses with a regular screwdriver, but since the fuel pump is seated in the bracket, I found it harder to remove the hoses, so I went ahead and I decided to remove the bracket from the tank. The bracket is held up by 2 14mm bolts. Now that the fuel pump is hanging free, you have enough leverage to pull the hose from the fuel pump. Just get ready with the shop towels when you remove the hoses, because gasoline will spill out. Okay, after some wiggling and some elbow grease, I was able to remove the fuel pump. Also, the fuel pump just slides right out of the bracket, so you don't need to open up the bracket at all. You can simply slide out the old fuel pump and slide in the new fuel pump. Alright, and I also recommend comparing the old fuel pump with the new one and make sure that both are the same. The original fuel pump had the sliding connectors, while this new one has this threaded stud connectors that requires a bolt. So you want to go ahead and cut the old cable out and install new connectors. Also, when installing a new fuel pump, make sure you're putting it in exactly how you took it out. Some fuel pumps will have an arrow indicating how the fuel is supposed to flow. You want the fuel to go from the left to the right, not the other way around. I find it easier installing the left hose first, then the mounting bracket, and then finally the right hose. Next, you want to cut the old connectors out and strip the cable so you can clamp on new connectors. Just make sure that you put in the installation boot before clamping on the new connector. Once you've done that to the two cables, it should look like this. When connecting the fuel pump, make sure that the ground cable, which by the way is the shortest cable, the one that connects to the car's body, is connected to the negative terminal. If you look at the fuel pump, there should be a little symbol indicator, a negative and a positive sign indicating which one's negative and which one's positive. Make sure that the longest cable, which is the positive, connects to the plus terminal. Once you have your connectors in, go ahead and tighten the bolts and slide the boot so that the connectors are insulated. The last thing to do before you put the trunk back together is to connect the battery and start up the car and make sure that there's no leaks. Make sure that the fuel pump is working properly and make sure that there's no cables or wires exposed. If you find the video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing. Also follow me on Instagram and Facebook at randomtallguy. Alright, see you next time guys. Peace.